Milarepa's story begins not with light, but with darkness. He was born into a life of comfort, a world that was soon stolen from him. After his father's passing, his greedy aunt and uncle seized the family's wealth, casting Milarepa, his mother, and his sister into a life of hardship and servitude. They were treated with cruelty, forced to labor in the very fields that were once their own. The injustice planted a seed of bitterness in his mother's heart, a seed that she nurtured with a singular, all-consuming desire for revenge. This deep-seated anger would shape the course of Milarepa's early life, sending him down a dark and sorrowful path. Driven by his mother's unwavering command, Milarepa sought out a sorcerer to learn the dark arts. He became a student of black magic, not for power or curiosity, but to fulfill a promise of vengeance. He dedicated himself to his studies with intense focus, mastering spells to control the weather and command destructive forces. The day came when he unleashed his newfound power. A great storm descended upon his aunt and uncle's home during a wedding celebration, causing the house to collapse and bringing death to many. The act brought a moment of grim satisfaction, but it was fleeting, quickly replaced by a profound and heavy sense of regret. The weight of his actions settled upon him like a shroud. The lives he had taken, the suffering he had caused, began to haunt his every waking moment. He had fulfilled his mother's wish, but in doing so, he had created an immense karmic debt, a stain upon his soul that felt impossible to wash away. He saw the cyclical nature of hatred, how one act of vengeance only begets another, trapping everyone in an endless loop of pain. This realization was the first flicker of a new awareness, a deep yearning to undo the harm he had done and to find a path away from the misery he had created for himself and others. The emptiness that followed his revenge was a turning point. He understood that true peace could never be found through harming others. The path of destruction had led only to more suffering, a desolate inner landscape filled with guilt and sorrow. He longed for purification, for a way to cleanse his spirit and find a different way to live. This powerful feeling of remorse became his motivation, the very force that would propel him on a new journey. He decided to leave his past behind and seek a spiritual master who could teach him the Dharma, the true path to liberation from the cycle of suffering he had so violently perpetuated. Milarepa's search for a teacher led him to hear of Marpa the translator, a great master known for his wisdom and direct methods. With hope in his heart, he traveled to find him, believing this was his only chance for salvation. When he finally arrived, he bowed before Marpa and confessed everything. He spoke of the black magic, the lives lost, and the unbearable weight of his guilt. He pleaded with the master to teach him the path to enlightenment so he could overcome his negative karma. Marpa listened intently, his expression unreadable, and agreed to take Milarepa on as a student, though the path he offered was not what Milarepa had expected at all. Marpa did not immediately offer spiritual teachings or meditation instructions. Instead, he gave Milarepa a series of grueling physical tasks, each one seemingly designed to break his body and spirit. First, he commanded Milarepa to build a round stone tower by himself. With immense effort, Milarepa hauled stones and labored under the sun until the tower was nearly complete. Just as he was about to finish, Marpa ordered him to tear it down and return every stone to its original place. This process was repeated multiple times, with towers of different shapes, a crescent, a triangle, each one built with hope and demolished in despair. These seemingly pointless labors were a profound teaching in disguise. Marpa was not just building towers, he was dismantling Milarepa's pride and ego. Each stone he lifted was an act of purification, each drop of sweat a cleansing of his past sins. The physical hardship was immense, leaving Milarepa's back covered in sores and his hands raw and bleeding. Yet, more painful than the physical toll was the emotional one. He was filled with doubt and despair, questioning if Marpa would ever truly teach him the Dharma, or if he was simply being punished for his wicked past, forever denied the spiritual solace he so desperately sought. Through this intense trial, Milarepa's resolve was tested to its absolute limit. He was pushed to the edge of giving up many times, but his deep-seated desire for purification kept him going. He learned patience, humility, and the true meaning of devotion. He began to understand that enlightenment was not something that could be given freely. It had to be earned through unwavering effort and the complete surrender of the self. Marpa's harsh methods were an act of great compassion, a powerful medicine designed to burn away the impurities of Milarepa's past and prepare his mind for the true teachings that were yet to come. After years of relentless physical labor, after the final tower was built and allowed to stand, Marpa finally deemed Milarepa ready. He at last bestowed upon his student the precious spiritual instructions he had withheld for so long. He transmitted the sacred vows, the empowerments, and the profound teachings of Mahamudra. For Milarepa, this moment was like rain falling on a parched desert. He absorbed the teachings with an eagerness born from years of longing and hardship. Marpa's harshness transformed into the warmth of a loving guide, and he instructed Milarepa to find solitude to put the teachings into practice. This marked the end of his trials with his guru and the beginning of a new, even more challenging phase of his journey. Following Marpa's advice, Milarepa retreated to the isolated caves of the high Himalayas. He chose a life of extreme austerity, committed to meditating day and night. His only possessions were a thin cotton robe and a begging bowl. His diet consisted of whatever he could find, which for many years was nothing but stinging nettles. The nettles turned his skin a pale green, a testament to his single-minded dedication. He faced unimaginable loneliness, extreme cold, and starvation. Yet these physical deprivations were secondary to the inner battles he fought as his mind wrestled with distractions, memories of his past, and the subtle temptations of the ego. In the silence of his mountain cave, Milarepa's practice deepened. He was no longer just a student following instructions. He was a spiritual warrior engaged in a direct confrontation with the nature of his own mind. He used the teachings Marpa had given him to observe his thoughts without judgment, to see their empty, transient nature. He meditated on compassion, extending feelings of loving kindness not only to his victims, but also to his aunt and uncle, understanding that they too were trapped in the cycle of suffering. His solitary practice was a slow, deliberate process of transforming poison into medicine, turning the energy of his past regrets into the fuel for his spiritual awakening. Years passed in this unbroken meditation. The world outside his cave moved on, but Milarepa remained steadfast, his focus unwavering. His body grew frail, but his spirit became as strong and unshakable as the mountains that surrounded him. He experienced profound insights and mystical visions, gaining mastery over his mind and body. The solitude that once felt like a punishment became his greatest ally, providing the perfect crucible in which to forge his realization. He was no longer running from his past, but integrating it into a larger understanding of karma and the universal potential for liberation that exists within all beings. After many years of solitary meditation in the desolate mountain caves, Milarepa achieved his ultimate goal. He attained complete enlightenment, a state of perfect peace and profound wisdom. The heavy burden of his past actions was finally and completely purified. He realized the empty, luminous nature of reality and saw the interconnectedness of all things. In this state of supreme awakening, his heart overflowed with boundless compassion for all sentient beings still trapped in the confusion and suffering of samsara. His own journey from sinner to saint was complete, and he was now a beacon of hope for others. Having reached the pinnacle of spiritual attainment, Milarepa did not remain in silent seclusion. Instead, he emerged from his solitude to share his wisdom with the world. He did not teach through complex philosophical texts or formal rituals. Instead, he taught through spontaneous songs of realization known as the dohas. These songs, born from his direct experience, expressed the deepest truths of the Dharma in simple, poetic language that anyone could understand. He wandered from village to village, a humble yogi in a cotton robe, singing about the nature of mind, the folly of worldly attachment, and the joy of liberation. His songs and his life story became a source of immense inspiration. People from all walks of life, from simple shepherds to learned scholars, were drawn to his presence. They saw in him living proof that no matter how great one's past mistakes, transformation is always possible. His journey demonstrated that the path to enlightenment is not reserved for those born pure, but is open to anyone with enough courage, determination, and sincere regret to undertake the arduous journey of purification and practice. He showed that the greatest obstacles could be overcome through perseverance and faith in a qualified teacher. The legacy of Milarepa is a timeless message of hope. It reminds us that the human spirit has an incredible capacity for change. It teaches us that regret can be a powerful catalyst for growth, and that diligent effort can purify even the most negative karma. His life is a testament to the power of unwavering determination and the profound possibility of finding inner peace against all odds. Milarepa's journey from a life of vengeance to one of enlightened compassion continues to echo through the ages, a beautiful and powerful song encouraging us all to find the strength within ourselves to walk the path of awakening.